Mega MAGA, Ultra MAGA, MAGA King. We gotta stop the MAGA King. I'm the MAGA King. And I'm gonna ask a man who's a great man, actually. Kenneth Copeland, to come up and say a prayer. Well, it's about time.
What's up, motherfuckers? How are y'all doing?
The following video is a clip from my Analyzing Evil Joe Rogan video. In that video, I explained the political evolution of Joe Rogan in full detail. If you want to see the whole thing in context, the link is in the description. As usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and while you're at it, go subscribe to the End the Two-Party System Network. The End the Two-Party System Network is a network of many different political commentators from all different sides of the political spectrum who are fighting against the two main parties that are fucking everybody up. So any support from my fellow content creators at the ETPS network would be really appreciated. I'll leave the link to their channel in the description.
So with that out of the way, let's get right into it. In 2015, Dave Rubin, who by that point had left the Young Turks, made an appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience. During the interview, Rubin and Rogan would talk about how disappointed they were in TYT defending Islam.
These guys don't want to debate ideas. It's really as simple as that. So at the very personal level, I can tell you, so you've had Cenk on. He was my former boss for 2 years at TYT. He watched the original thing with Sam and then sat down with Sam for 3 hours.
Right.
Did you see any
yes,
of that?
Yes, I did. I watched the whole thing.
3 hours. I watched that thing. I was working for him at the time. Literally, I was like this the entire time because I was having a headache because I could not believe that this person that I work for, who I respect, who I play basketball with every Sunday, that he was so dense to the ideas that Sam was portraying. And at the end of it, just as I said to you before, that at the end of mine, I thought I had made this conversation a little bit better. Cenk only doubled down on all of this shit because they don't want to debate ideas. They just want Sam to be discredited so that their ideas win. And that's why we have to fight against it. Because if Sam disappears, as I said earlier, if Sam disappears tomorrow, it's not about him. It's about all the ideas that we'll all be afraid to talk about. That's why Charlie Hebdo cartoons, you should be able to, Family Guy can do whatever the fuck they want on Jesus, right? Every episode, there's an episode where Jesus is bathing with porn music in the background in front of Stewie, a baby. Nobody had a problem with that. Try doing that with Muhammad. But we can't just pick. You can't pick. Say whatever the fuck you want about Judaism. Big goddamn deal.
What is it with Cenk? What I mean, you know him. That was really perplexing to me because I usually feel like whether I agree with him or don't agree with him on other things, I feel like he's got an opinion. He thinks about it. He talks about it. He tries to be open-minded. He's passionate about these ideas. But with that, it was so confusing to me because it was almost like he was just trying to win.
Look,
it was like he was trying to find a way to beat someone who is, Sam is an intellectual black belt. Yeah. I mean, like a high-level world champion black belt of the spoken word.
Dave Rubin would make another appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience. This is where things started to change. By that point, Rubin had done his I left the left grift. And it was around this time he called himself a classical liberal. Rubin said Candace Owens should run for office. And because of Rogan's past experience with Candace, Rogan thought Rubin was crazy.
So I see all these minorities, by the way. So Candace, who I watch the show, and I know you guys definitely have disagreements on stuff, as do I do when it comes not only to politics, but tactics sometimes and stuff, but I really do like her. Look, she's causing a massive rift in the black community, and you can see it in the numbers. Black male support for Trump doubled. It was at 11%. It's now at 22%. No, well, it's Kanye. Kanye was the wrecking machine, but right. I think in the grand scheme of things, Candace is much bigger. I really believe that in terms of because I think she could be a direct line to all of the political parts of this if she decides to go that route. Because I think she could run for Senate or
what?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Are you high?
Yeah,
Did you get high
I'm not
high.
Here? I'm not high
what
today.
Happened?
I'm only smoking maybe once a week on Sundays. And now I'm on
Sundays.
tour, so I'm not really at all. But
maybe I'll spark up a joint and have you reconsider what you just said.
You can smoke a joint and maybe I'll reconsider.
You said
it.
you watched the podcast I did with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched. I don't know, maybe at least an hour and a half of it or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Why?
Why what?
Well, I don't know. Why are you saying it that way?
Because I don't think she should run for Senate.
No, I'm not saying.
I think she's a young girl with some interesting ideas, and she's got a lot of passion.
No, I didn't say
real
you.
Fun.
I didn't say you think she should. I didn't even say I think she should. I think she could have a bigger effect even than Kanye when it comes to just everything going on politically and socially.
I'm going to ask you again if you're high, and I need you to be honest with me.
She wants it. She wants it, man.
I'm sure she does, but when you hear...
She's affecting people in a big way. I think maybe in a bigger way than perhaps either one of us understand.
Rubin would explain to Rogan why he believed in right-wing economics. But because Rogan's father was an architect, Rogan wasn't buying it.
What problem would you, everything you're building here right now, right? Do you want the government to tell you how to do all these things and all the regulations that you got to have your electric thing this far from this and like all
the regulations like that for construction are important though. You do have to make sure that people don't do stupid shit.
But
make sure you
generally,
don't have a power line that's near a water line. There's a lot of.
But I would put most of that on the builders though. They want to build things that are good. Now I get it.
That's not true. Listen, people
people are going to build
corners all the time. Like you have to have regulations when it comes to construction methods, or people are going to get fucked.
They cut corners when there are regulations anyway.
They do. They would cut a lot more if there weren't regulations.
I'm not totally.
If you go to third world countries and look at construction methods, they're fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
That's why schools collapse on kids in foreign countries sometimes. Like, listen, man, I was in construction my whole life. My dad was an architect.
Yeah.
I've been in construction since I was a little kid. You fucking need regulations. These guys, a lot of people that are in construction, they'll do whatever the fuck they can to make money, and it's not good for the people that have the house because they might have that house for 5-10 years before that problem manifests itself. The people who are establishing these codes are licensed builders or people that have been involved in construction for a long fucking time, and they know what's safe and what's not safe. That's why those codes exist. It exists to protect the consumers. You can't just protect the consumers through the marketplace because it takes a long time for these problems to become a real issue, and these problems could potentially damage everybody in the neighborhood. It's not just going to affect the person on this one lot. Like if a fire starts, it burns all the houses in the neighborhood, or if a flood happens and it floods everyone downhill, it's a real problem. Like you have to be real careful with construction. And I've had construction projects where I had to explain to people and go through it with builders. They're making sure that the house doesn't fucking fall on you, that the power lines, are done correctly, that all the electricity is done correctly, the pipes are laid in correctly, your septic system or your sewage system is done correctly.
Yeah. Do you think that could be privatized then? See, 'cause again, I just think it's an interesting
regulations. Yeah. How would it? How
that
would
you could have
there would be no incentive.
Well, no, you could have companies that their job would be to make
inspect.
sure to inspect. Yeah, and you
they wouldn't have the threat of law to enforce these things. Like if someone is building something and they're not up to code, they lose their license and they can't build.
Right.
If you privatized it, what's the incentive for them to follow the guidelines? If you're not going to have regulation, what is the solution if someone does something that's illegal?
Well, if you're not going to have a regulation, it wouldn't be illegal. But your question is...
Well, it's illegal to dump things into the river, right? I mean, it's just illegal.
Right,
that's not a matter of regulation. I mean, polluting, willful poisoning of rivers.
I'm sure is
would be
actually
eco-terrorism.
Illegal. Right.
It would be a bunch of like.
So what those guys would argue is what I said before, which is that ultimately, especially now because of technology, like in the old days, so like every time someone cuts regulation, I've heard Bill Maher say this a lot, they're going to start polluting the river immediately. That implies that these businessmen, whatever industry that they're in, that they're immediately going to be like, ha, the regulation's gone, start polluting the water. We live in a time now where everyone's walking around with an iPhone, where maybe 50 years ago you could have got away with a lot of bad shit, right? Mm-hmm. Coal miners that were breathing all kinds of horrible shit that nobody was ever going to find out about, where now everybody is walking around with Snapchat and Instagram and blah, blah, blah. So a lot of this stuff would be exposed more so that all of the things that we've been talking about for the last couple hours about people getting involved, a lot of the things I think would start self-regulating. But again, and then I won't say it again, I'm not for just deregulating everything. I just think there's probably better ways to do it than just having the government come in and say, this is what you got to do and now figure it out. Because the government isn't that good at most things.
Yeah, I know what you're saying there, but I do think that obviously there has to be laws in place. Specifically laws in place that protect people from someone doing something that's going to damage all the other people in the community.
Yeah. Well, by the way, so you can do that look, the government's supposed to protect your life and your property. I mean, that's a very simple libertarian thing. You know what I mean? Like, so that there's a good argument there for why you could have some level of regulation.
Right, but I don't think it's just specifically in terms of like someone polluting rivers. I don't think it's good enough to Snapchat about it. I think people should be locked up and go to jail. If they find out that someone's dumping toxic waste into the river because it's too expensive to process it and get it removed and put in some place where it's safe, that's a crime.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for fining those people and having the companies fire them and all those things. As far as putting them in jail, I don't know that I'm...
Lock them up.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm...
Get them off the streets. Take the money. Give it to Bernie's kids.
Yeah.
This was the moment that Joe Rogan realized that Dave Rubin is full of shit. And ever since then, he never had him on his show again. Rogan would then go on to explain why he hates grifters.
Here's the thing. Even if people are wrong about many things, or even... I'll explain this better. Even if you disagree with the way people feel about so many different things, it doesn't mean you can't be their friend. It doesn't. And I'm telling you, we got it wrong,
that's so
man.
sweet.
Here's what's important. What's important is whoever that person is, they got to be sincere. Now, as soon as you feel like someone's a grifter, you got to cast them out.
Right.
You got to cast them
That's
out
cool.
because they got to figure that out on their own, and they got to apologize.
That's cool, man.
Listen, you can be wrong, but you have to be honest. And if you're just bullshitting, then I can't hang out with you.
Do you see a way in which this political epic comes to an end?
The only hope that I have is through reasonable dialogue becoming an accepted and appreciated thing, a celebrated thing. And that this is possible, that people can realize that there's some stupidity to this team mentality that we have.
Right.
This right versus left, which is almost all, a good percentage of it, is these assumed identities, right? These predetermined patterns that get adopted in order to, as we first started talking about this, in order to establish yourself as someone who's in a group.
Right.
You get accepted by this group. And you see it left and right. I mean, I don't want to name any names, but there's a bunch of people that do it blatantly. You see them, and I've even seen them switch teams. And you see them switch teams, and I don't buy their rationalizations when it comes to ideology. What I think is what they're doing is they're switching teams because they realize there's an in on this team.
Right.
And they can just say, this is the problem with the team I used to be on. Those fucking losers. And they're really Benedict Arnold, right? And like they probably have as much of an affinity to the ideas of one side as they do the other side. They just go all in on one side to get acceptance from the group.
Right.
There's no way people change their opinion that much over 2 years or something like that. Or it's like they just decide this group makes more sense now, and I've been attacked by people on the left, so I'm going to go to the right, or vice versa. And usually what it is I mean, even when they say they've been attacked, like, oh, you fucking baby, there's 300 million people just in this country alone. If you put something out there publicly and 1,000 people attack you, don't act like you're being persecuted. Okay, you have an idea, you've launched that idea out into the zeitgeist, and people took a big shit on it. Whether it's people on the right or people on the left, you got to be able to argue your point one way or the other, and not just immediately jump ship when someone who shares ideas with you decides that your idea sucks. And maybe they're wrong, and maybe you're right, but you got to argue that through.
Although Rogan never mentioned their names, it was pretty obvious who was he referring to. Ray Dubin, on the other hand, was butthurt by Rogan not having him back on his show. And as a way to lash out at Rogan, Rubin attacked Rogan's character when he moved to Texas.
Let's see. Happy birthday, Dave. Keep doing what you're doing. Love your show. Will you go on Joe Rogan's podcast? And will you have Libertarian presidential VP candidate on your show before the election? Will I go on Rogan's podcast? I asked him, and our PR people asked him about a bajillion times to go on for my book. We did not get a response as far as I know, so I don't know what happened there. It's a little weird for me to say that publicly. I don't know what happened.
Dave, are you going to move out of California? Love you both. I'm sure you're aware that Joe Rogan just announced recently that he's moving to Texas.
Yeah, well, the funny thing about Rogan moving to Texas is Rogan was a Bernie supporter, so I don't know that the Texans really want Rogan there. That's for I suppose that's for them to decide.
Maybe
but
in Austin.
Yeah, but do you really want more Bernie supporters in Texas? That's a disaster. Ted Cruz was like, welcome to Texas, Rogan. And it's like, well, if you're going to import those ideas, that's a problem. Because look at it this way. When you see all of these people now supposedly moving from California, they can't take it anymore. They're moving from California to Texas. Well, often we know they export from California and then import it into the red states, all of these blue ideas and these bad ideas, and then they turn states blue. So, if I was the average Texan conservative, I would be pretty worried when, say, Joe Rogan, I like Joe, but when Joe Rogan, who is a Bernie supporter, he's fleeing California to set up shop in Texas, right. And you're excited because it's kind of cool that Joe Rogan lives there, but it's like, he's gotten the big ideas wrong, and you have to be worried about that. That's not a shot at Joe Rogan personally, but that's just a reality.
And that's pretty much all I have to say. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know why. If you want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe to my channel. And press the bell notification so you don't miss out on the next video. You never know when I upload. And if you could, please follow me on social media. The links are all in the description. So check me out there. And that's the end of the video. See you in the next one.
When you're a turd, you're a turd. Guys, I've never been scared of fighting in my life. Get up! When you're a turd, you're a turd. Joe's a badass. I'm not kissing his ass. Can you just please stop crying? To be fair to Joe, people keep making it seem like we're into beef. Am I gonna fight him? Absolutely. I'll end you off. Oh, you say that to my... What's he gonna do? He's like a gorilla. I've seen Joe beat people up. But I do know his is full of crap. If I was an out-of-shape fat ass, he's way worse than I am. He's put out a tweet just saying that he will beat up Joe Rogan. I'm not putting Joe on blast. It's all his little boys who are like, oh no, oh, Joe's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. Okay.